We've always had room in our hearts for film and TV, not just on Netflix, but tape and disc and theaters. Also, God forbid that they take it all away and leave us nothing to broadcast to loyal listeners. We'll binge watch every single movie, so you don't have to. What else are we here for? Coming to you every week. Listen to us while you're busy. Luckily, we forgot to grow up. Hey everybody, it's Craig.
Hey, it's Scott.
And there's no Andrew this week because he is off doing Andrew-type things, kind of. It's a pretty insensitive way to put that.
Yeah, I was going to say our condolences to Kendall's family.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So Andrew will be out this week. So we figured we would do a very Scott and Craig style episode in which we play a game of Guess That Top 100 Movie according to IMDb's Top 100 Movies list. And
yes, I thought this would be very fitting for the two of us.
That's such it's such a catchy title too.
Yeah, it fits in the. It'll be really good for our title at the end, like our addition of,
Yeah.
So that's why I was thinking of it too, because like shark movies is
not quite as cool.
Not as SEO friendly, to be honest. It's a lot about documentaries. Shark Week was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we've missed out on it. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Greatest movies of all time. Always a good thing. Always a good thing.
And I thought it'd be funny seeing the two of us like read different descriptions and see which one of us can like. What if we get them all right? It won't be as much fun. It'll be more fun if we get some of these wrong.
It's almost like playing the bad movie synopsis game, except we're just reading synopsis of movies.
Exactly. Well, that's why, because sometimes when I'm on IMDb a lot reading these different descriptions, especially for like TV episodes in particular and TV shows, they have the worst descriptions.
Yep.
And so I just like so vague, so off. And so like I just thought it'd be funny to see what the top 100 has, how like memorable some of these are to the two of us, especially since we have I want to say very different, but slightly different. Our movie like knowledge is definitely slightly Venn diagrammed, but it's definitely not completely overlapped.
No, it's not a circle.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I thought this would be kind of fun to see where what movies fall kind of in the middle of the Venn diagram for us, and which ones fall on either side of it for us.
And it's almost like playing which movies in the top 100 have you actually seen.
That's the other part that's fun to it too.
So you can go ahead and start.
Okay. Well, this is going to be slightly tough. So we said we'd go by description, and we're going to try to eliminate any like character names or anything that might give it away as a dead giveaway. So I've got the first one up that just kind of came to my screen. So the description is: a Phoenix secretary embezzles $40,000 from her employer's client, goes on the run, and checks into a remote motel run by a young man under the domination of his mother.
Oh no!
See, and like I like this one is because
I can't remember the name of the movie.
Yeah, you know what it is, and that's how I kind of felt when I came across this one and reading it. I'm like, I'd probably maybe forget which one this one was too.
I can't remember the name of the movie.
Should I give you some hints?
I can remember the name of the TV show. The TV show is called Bates Motel. The movie's not called Bates Motel, is it? No, it's not.
No, but you're on the right track.
I know that's what it is.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh man.
1960.
That's still not helping.
There was a remake in the 90s that had Vince Vaughn.
Still not. That's a weird
trivia fact about it.
Why?
Yeah. I'm just telling you. I just know these things. That's all. It's not. This wasn't even one that was written down. I just know that for some random reason.
I'm not gonna get the title of the movie.
Okay, it's Psycho.
Yeah. See, and American Psycho came to mind, but I was like, that's not the same movie.
No, but you're close. You would have been close. But yeah, Psycho. And I'm going to forgive you on this one. Well, slightly, because you got Bates Motel, right? So it's like, well, you knew exactly what I was talking about. Just, you couldn't peg this classic. So I thought this is very fitting for this game, I thought. So it's exactly what I wanted to happen.
Okay, I got one for you now.
Alrighty.
This one falls in slightly lower on the list than the movie you gave me. Won an Oscar. And has 4 Oscar nominations. That's all the hints I'm going to get you.
All right.
Has 8.3 stars. After discovering a mysterious artifact buried beneath the surface, mankind sets off on a quest to find its origins with help from other intelligence.
Oh wow, that is so vague.
Right? I intentionally removed a couple things. Not that I think it would help. Would
No,
you
probably not too much.
would you like a couple hints?
Give me. Oh yeah, give me a little something.
So,
because I'm so like.
hint number 1,
Yeah.
149-minute runtime.
Okay,
So it's a long-ass movie.
It's a longer movie. Yeah.
Hint number 2, iconic soundtrack.
My mind immediately went to Armageddon when you said that, but I'm like, that has nothing to do with alien life. Or what was the?
I said other intelligence.
Other intelligence. Yes. So that's. Oh, what movie do they go looking for stuff? Okay, I'm gonna maybe just make a stab.
I think I
at
took
it.
you in the wrong direction. I feel like I very well hid this movie.
I think so too, but I might surprise you. I'm gonna go with a random one.
Okay.
The Abyss.
No. Would you like the answer? Would you like one more hint? Maybe you'll get it after this.
Okay, I'll take one more hint.
Directed by Stanley Kubrick.
Okay, is it 20 or 2001?
It's 2001: A Space Odyssey. Yeah.
Space Odyssey. Okay, that was. I don't know. I didn't think that before Abyss.
I don't know. I had to leave a couple things out because they.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
They
That's
put,
fair.
in the description, they put with help from an intelligent supercomputer HAL 9000. I was like, that gives the whole friggin' thing away.
That does give it all away. So that's why I like that you left it. Because so I went the Abyss because I know at the end they've got the they meet the one water life thing. So I was like, okay, I'll go that way. I think that's on here. It's a James Cameron movie. But yeah, that makes sense too. As soon as you said Stanley Kubrick, I'm like, yeah, no, that's that one.
Yeah,
right?
it's the only
Why didn't I
Stanley
think of
Kubrick
that?
movie you can name, right?
Probably. Oh. Ooh.
I can't name any other ones.
This is I think it's worse for me because I definitely read a book by him where he talked about some of his movies, or maybe it was by his daughter talking about him. But yeah, no, I should know more about him considering I definitely read one of those coffee table books from the library on him.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely just forgetting because in my defense, he kind of not overlaps, but his time period overlaps with some other very iconic directors.
Yes.
So I get their stuff mixed up a little bit. So that's going to be my lame excuse while I scroll around and try to find another one for you to guess. Okay, I'm just doing kind of a random scroll down. Okay, I kind of like the idea of going with this one. Yeah. Okay. Should I give you a couple hints first, like you gave me?
My hints were garbage.
A little bit.
I told you about the Oscar nominations.
Yeah, which just doesn't help at all. This one's got 1 Oscar and 9 Oscar nominations.
Okay,
I'll
so
just throw that out.
Slightly
It's
more iconic than 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Slightly, yes. It's got a 8.3 rating on IMDb with 100 on Metacritic, according to this. So yes, the description is: following the death of a publishing tycoon, reporters scrambled to uncover the meaning of his final utterance. So I left out a couple names and what he utters. And so in your defense, if you don't get this, I've never seen this movie, but it is a classic.
Don't think I'm going to get it based on that.
Okay. It is to this day still considered a classic by most people, and again, it's on this top list obviously, so I'm trying to give more hints. I'll just Orson Welles, he directed and starred in it.
Fuck, I don't know, I'm not gonna get it.
Yeah, it's Citizen Kane.
Oh yeah, I've never seen it.
I had to leave out the name of Charles Kane, and he utters a rosebud, which I don't know if rosebud would have helped you.
That would.
I've never seen this, so I wouldn't have got it. But I would have. I think I would have. The Charles Kane one, I think, might have given it a little bit more away, because that was the name of the publishing tycoon. Yeah, Craig. Next time I won't go with another classic just to give you a chance.
That would be very nice, since I haven't.
Yeah, and like I said, in your defense, I hadn't seen this one either. I just thought it was funny because I did the random scroll, and that's what came up. I'm getting a lot of these older ones coming up on mine.
Yeah, that's pretty much been the entire thing. I'm trying to find a movie that I understand enough that I'd be able to give a good description on it. All right, I've got one for you. It's fairly low on the list. I'm not going to give you the era, because that gives far too much away.
Yeah, that gives it a lot away.
But it never won an Oscar, which I'm actually kind of shocked about since I've heard lots of really good things about this film.
Okay, so now I know that it's an Oscar snub potentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
A mentally unstable veteran works a nighttime job in an East Coast town where the perceived decadence and sleaze fuels his urge for violent action by attempting to liberate a presidential campaign worker and an underage sex worker.
That's Taxi Driver.
Damn it.
I love Taxi Driver. That one's actually that's one of my favorite Robert De Niro movies.
I figured I'd give you an easy one.
That was a pretty easy one. And I think you did a good way of covering it up a little bit. You know, not saying New York, I'm assuming, is what when you said East Coast town.
I even tried to disguise the size of the city, but it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That one again. That one's a tough one because if any movies ever copied that, I would never be able to guess those movies. If that makes any kind of sense.
Definitely.
Okay. Apparently I went the wrong way on this. What did I rate? Oh, that's why. I switched my order by rating, and I shouldn't have done that because ratings always have, recency bias. So all the more recent stuff is at the top.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that I've stalled long enough, okay. Oh, I don't want to give you that one. That's another. It's a modern classic, but okay. All right, this one's a little more vague. We've talked about this movie recently, actually. So, the lives of two mob hitmen, a boxer, a gangster, and his wife, and a pair of diner bandits, intertwined in four tales of violence and redemption.
That immediately. It's Pulp Fiction.
It is Pulp Fiction. I just liked it because I was like, it's modern enough. The one I had before was Schindler's List, and I'm like, I don't know how to change, German occupied Poland into anything else.
Yeah, there's been a couple I've scrolled by because I've been like, I don't know if I can change that enough that it disguises it.
Lord of the Rings. That's when I'm like, what? I don't know. I'm supposed to change Aragon in this to travel across whatever.
I don't think I need to change anything about this description.
Okay.
2 Oscars.
2 Oscars.
It's crime, really. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Jerry's inept crime falls apart due to his and his henchmen's bungling and the persistent police work of the quite pregnant Marge.
Yeah, I think you might have changed the names. And I might have read this one and now forgotten.
Wow.
I think I read this one for you. Is it a older one, like a classic?
It's fairly recent, within our lifetime.
Okay, within our lifetime.
We've talked about this a lot, but indirectly.
Indirectly, okay. Yeah. Ooh, okay. I gotta stay away from. I'm tempted to scroll the list, and I don't want to.
Do you want to know its general genre?
That could help.
Crime, drama, thriller.
Crime, drama, thriller. Okay. Okay, can you just give it to me one more time? Jerry's crime.
Jerry's inept crime falls apart due to his and his henchmen's bungling and the persistent police work of the quite pregnant Marge. I can give you a couple actors in it if it helps too.
Yeah, go ahead.
William H. Macy, Steve Buscemi.
Didn't help. Oh, is this Reservoir Dogs?
No, it's not.
No, okay.
I'll give you one more hint. But because it's going to give it away, it doesn't really count. It's a Coen Brothers film.
Well, now I'm just like blanking on all of the
Coen Brothers films?
Except for Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
It's not Oh Brother, Where Art Thou.
And I know it's not that because I'm like, that doesn't fit at all. There's no pregnant people in that. Well, that's not true. His wife's technically pregnant in that, but that's still not the point. I'm not getting this one.
Fargo.
That I did read that. I started to read that one before I gave you the last one I gave you, and I didn't read the whole description, but I remembered the crime part.
I
so
had
I was like,
to leave the last names out because otherwise it gives it away.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've got like Nordic names in that whole story. So
yeah, I almost gave that to you before I gave you the second one.
I probably wouldn't have got it. I watched the whole TV show, but I did not watch the movies, so I wouldn't have got it.
That's fair. Okay, now I'm trying to find another one. Okay, I like this one. So, a former general sets out to exact vengeance against the corrupt leader who murdered his family and sent him into slavery. I couldn't think of anything else. I should have said servitude. That would have worked better. But yeah.
General?
Yes. Which I left out the descriptive or the adjective that would describe what type of general or what nation he would be the general of. And I also changed corrupt leader. That they call it something else. And slavery's a little bit of a hint.
Slavery's a little bit of a hint. That doesn't help me. Now you're just sending me off in a completely different direction. Slavery's a little bit of a hint. What could that
Well, I
mean?
mean, in the sense that you then can, decide what era you can take out the modern that it takes place in more modern era.
I'm pretty sure it's old.
It was made recently, though.
Sounds like a period piece.
It is a period piece.
It was made recently.
Slightly recently, in our lifetime, I should say.
Okay, well that makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's I meant recent in to this list, for this list at least. Not that many from the 2000s are in this list. It's by Ridley Scott.
I've never finished the movie.
Okay.
It's not Gladiator, is it?
It is Gladiator.
Holy shit.
It was a Roman general and a corrupt emperor. And that's why slavery was a little bit of a giveaway, because he's in slavery to be a gladiator. Yeah.
So I was like, maybe.
Yeah, no, you're right on. It was Gladiator. That was made in 2000, so that is in our lifetime.
Didn't think I was going to
Not
get
that recent, though. You're right. Still 19 years old at this point, but way to go.
All right.
I thought I did okay covering that one up for the most part.
That was really good. I've got one for you. A bored waitress falls in love with an ex-convict, and together they start a violent crime spree through the country.
Oh. Why do I know this? I've probably seen this movie. It's not Bonnie and Clyde,
It's Bonnie and Clyde.
It is Bonnie.
It is Bonnie and Clyde.
I've never seen that.
I've
seen all the remakes.
As I went through it, I was like, "This is giving away more and more and more."
Well, my first thought was Thelma and Louise, and I'm like, "That's not the right one." I just get the duos mixed up. That's all. Yeah, the fact that it's a duo and they end some kind of crimes. Well, no, Thelma and Louise doesn't end in a crime spree, does it?
I don't know.
I can't remember now. That's not important at all. Anyways, cool. On to the next thing. Okay, so I'm trying to find one. I don't want to give you any more classics because I felt like that wasn't fair.
Anything on the top 100 is just going to be above my head, so.
Okay, yeah, this is a dead giveaway one. I'm like, I don't even know how to cover this one up. It's another name for an archaeologist.
What's another name for an archaeologist? Wow. That sounds like an Indiana Jones film.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, which one is it?
Okay. Okay, this one's going to be slightly tough, but it's one of the first ones from the modern era. So this one's from the 90s that I could find on my list at least. So a janitor at MIT has a gift for mathematics, but needs help from a psychologist to find direction.
That one was a little bit too easy. That
was
it?
Rain Man. See, you're.
Oh wow! I got all cocky. What the hell?
You got very cocky there. I was like, I haven't seen this movie, so like maybe you saw it, and that's why
it's
this
Good Will
is so
Hunting.
Obvious. It is Good Will Hunting.
I confused the two because I've never seen Rain Man or Good Will Hunting. That's my
That's
defense,
fair.
and I'm
No.
sticking to it.
That's fair. I might have made that same like mix. I would have probably made a similar mix-up. I would have been like, oh yeah, that's the guy who takes advantage of him in Rain Man, right? Is that what happens in Rain Man? I don't know. Maybe it's on this list, and we'll find out.
All right, I've got another older one for you.
Okay.
I feel like
I like the
that's-
classics.
I feel like that's giving it away, but we'll go there.
Okay.
So, when a beast unleashes chaos on a small community, it's up to a scientist, law enforcement, and an old person to hunt them down.
Ooh.
I was doing so well, but I had nothing for old person. Town elder. That's
Town
the word I
elder.
want.
It's
I
funny
feel
because
like
that's the part that throws me off.
I
the
feel
most.
like I nailed this.
You did a good job with this one.
Won 3 Oscars.
3 Oscars. Ooh.
I know, right?
It's about a beast getting hunted down by a group of guys,
Yes.
including an elderly gentleman.
Yes. Town elder,
Town
scientist, law enforcement.
elder. Oh, I feel like that's supposed to stick out so much more to me than it is. don't even have a guess.
I've gotten rid of a lot of really good identifying features. 1975.
Is it Dracula?
It is not Dracula.
Is it?
It was not. It is not a period piece in any stretch of the imagination. It was
Okay.
set in the time that it was filmed.
Is it The Thing?
No, it has arguably groundbreaking. Well, not really groundbreaking, but pretty good, really good practical effects. It was at one point released as a 3D film, which was a big deal for a movie of its day.
Is it Jaws?
It's Jaws.
Gosh. You said beast and I automatically assumed like some kind of alien or so my next guess was like predator or
The description is when a killer shark unleashes chaos on a beach community. It's up to
Yeah.
a local sheriff, a marine biologist, and an old seafarer to hunt the beast down. Like
Yeah,
I
no,
had to
you did
change-
a great job.
I had to
You did
change
a great job covering it. Yeah.
everything about that description.
Yeah, you did a better job. I would let's see. I would have skipped that one because I'm like, that's too much work. So that's a good one though. I like that. See, and this is this part of what I like about this game because it's like you said beast, and I didn't even think shark, even though we talked about sharks at the beginning of the episode.
Yep.
And I just went straight to alien.
Yeah,
or
something that's
some
not
kind of-
from this world, but turns
Exactly.
out,
Exactly. That's or like Dracula, or so my next guess after that was going to be again like Alien and then Predator or something like that. But yeah, I like that one. That was a good one. Okay, am I allowed to go around the 70s for you then?
Sure. I'm
Okay.
probably not going to get it, but sure.
What about 1980?
1980, I don't know. It's a crapshoot, really.
We're going to do a crapshoot on this one. So the life of a boxer whose violence and temper that lead him to the top in the ring destroy his life outside of it.
Sounds like a description for Rocky.
Yeah, but that's Rocky's themes are slightly. I would actually say Rocky's themes are a little bit different because he's not about violence and has a bad temper. He's just.
Interesting. Okay.
He just has
Okay.
like. I don't know when the last time you watched Rocky was.
Nope.
Okay,
A
that's
long
fair.
time.
Yeah, so Rocky's more of a like he's using it as
Yeah,
his
as his-
coming up as like
Yeah.
underdog coming up. This is
Yeah,
more
But I
this
figured
guy's release.
I figured it was maybe like not Rocky, but
Yeah,
one of the
that's
sequels.
fair. Oh, that's
See,
fair.
that's what
that could
could
that
not
could
place
fit for
it.
one of those. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
Beyond that, 1980s boxing movies.
Yeah.
That's where I stop.
Martin Scorsese as director.
That's still not helping me.
Robert De Niro's the boxer.
Just.
It's Raging Bull.
Yeah, I've never seen it. That's why.
Neither have I. I have this on DVD. Have not watched it yet. I've been meaning to though, because I like those older Robert De Niro, and I like when he teams up with Martin Scorsese. So But yeah, no, sorry, that was just the first more modern one. Like a lot of mine are just so like much older. Do you want to hear the description for Rocky?
Sure.
And so it's a small-time boxer. It gets a supremely rare chance to fight a heavyweight champion in a bout in which he strives to go the distance for his self-respect. So that's the first Rocky. So yeah, the Apollo in that one is like, this champ, and they try to get, just some kind of like pretty much just like a like kind of a warm-up fight in a sense for him, and that's what Rocky's supposed to be, just kind of like this quick, gets knocked out because he's a nobody kind of deal, and Rocky's just like, no, I'm gonna take this chance and knock the champ out, and that's what Rocky's about.
Got one for you. It's fairly recent.
Okay.
Hopefully I've thought my entire way out of this. I don't want to stumble and say something I'm not. All right. 2 old men lead an allied army to distract from the real purpose of the mission.
Oh, that's the whole thing.
That's it.
2 old men. Okay. Huh. As soon as he said that, I went Lethal Weapon. Then I'm like, oh no, they don't lead an army. Allied army, or part of an allied. What was it?
It's an allied army.
Yeah. So an allied army to
distract from the real mission.
From the real mission.
11 Oscars.
There's so many war ones, and I'm like, I feel so bad because I'm like, I don't know which one it is. So I'm gonna throw out some darts.
I think I very intentionally led you astray with one of those words in there. It's 201 minutes.
Okay, that kind of reconfirms what I think, which is it Saving Private Ryan?
It is not. I could not come up with a way to re-describe Saving Private Ryan, so I've completely skipped over it.
That's fair. So we're on to a different war movie, which limits my ability, my knowledge.
This film came
out.
How
modern?
It came out in 2003.
Okay.
But it is not based in 2003.
No, I didn't think so. You said Allied Army. I assumed that was World War II, right?
I know, that was also intentional.
Oh. See, this just screws up my whole, like, I don't even know now then, because I just assumed that, because that's the only thing I remember from history class.
Yep, that was intentional.
The Allies and the Axis. Were we in the same history class, Craig?
No, we were not. Mine was in French.
I thought so. I wasn't sure if that was still one of those classes or not. I couldn't remember which classes you guys started to cross over at.
This has 8.9 stars.
Yeah, makes sense.
11 Oscar nominations. 11 Oscars.
Oh god.
So it won every single one it got nominated for.
Oh, is this Lord of the Rings Return of the King?
So my next hint was going to be Sir Ian McKellen, and that was going to give it away for you. Yeah.
I get this. No, this is funny again because the 2 old men thing definitely threw me off, and then what got it for me was the fact that I was like, oh, they were. I read that one. That was one of the ones I skipped over, which was a good part on you for going back to that. And just like again, and this one had the opposite problem, which was I went realistic, and this was fantasy. So
yeah, that's where it got you. So we want to do one more each, and then we'll do what we watched this week.
That sounds.
If you
good.
can even come up with another one, because I'm gonna be grasping at straws.
Yeah, I've been trying to find like a modern enough one that I'm like okay, that I could like work with, and like there's just okay, I found one that will be interesting. Okay, so Selfish Yuppie something, I'm not gonna come up with a fake name. So fake name's father left a fortune to his son. No, to his brother. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to restart this. A selfish yuppie's father left a fortune to his brother and a pittance to... Okay, so a big inheritance to the one brother and a small one to the other brother, and they travel cross-country. Sorry, I was trying to leave out the names, which now I'm thinking of it, I'm like, probably were irrelevant.
You could probably have left them in since I don't know what
Yeah,
this
so
is.
selfish uppy Charlie's father left a fortune to his brother Raymond and a pittance to Charlie. They travel cross country.
That didn't help.
Yeah, no, I didn't think so. I don't know why I was going so tough to go around this. Give you a clue, we did talk about this movie.
Today?
Yes.
Is it?
During this one.
It's the Coen Brothers movie that I'm not going to remember the name of, isn't it?
No.
No. Okay.
You already guessed this for one of them as well.
Jesus. Well, I'm just going to guess everything I've guessed. It's not Rain Man, is it?
It is Rain
my
Man. I found Rain Man. I'm like, I can't skip Rain Man.
It was right there.
It's right there. Yeah, so that was my last one. Do you have a last one?
I do. I found one. I like that I'm going to be able to leave a lot of stuff in this.
Okay.
A U.S. Army officer serving overseas is tasked with assassinating one of their own.
Ooh. Oh, I got nothing for this one. Just nothing. Huh.
So it is probably the first R-rated film I've ever watched.
Okay.
It was filmed in 1979. Has some names. It has an older Hollywood star past
is
his
this,
past
is
his
it,
prime.
Apocalypse Now?
It is Apocalypse Now.
Okay. The description, I was like, okay, that could have, and then that made sense once you started talking about the old Hollywood star. I was like, yeah, okay, I know which one
Yeah,
this
it's
is.
Marlon Brando.
It's Marlon Brando. Another movie we've talked about semi-recently, too,
Yep.
on the podcast. So,
Exactly.
Makes sense, though, again, it's all these top 100. But I really enjoyed that game, and it turned out exactly how I thought it would between us.
That was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was. I thought that was... like I said, I like the fact that to see where our minds go automatically with these things. I used to play a similar game when I'd go to the movies with people.
Yeah.
Before the internet was a big thing, when you couldn't see trailers on YouTube every day. I liked going and being trying to guess what the movie was of the trailer before they show you the card. So when you're 10 years ago, when you could go and you had never seen the trailer before, it's like, oh, this is the first time I'm seeing it is at the movie theater, and then it'd be a little more fun to try and guess those ones because again, everything wasn't Marvel or stuff like that, so it was a little more variety. So this reminded me of that a little bit. So
a little bit. That was fun. All right, what we watched this week?
Yes. Do you want to start since you got a slightly longer list?
Sure. So, sometimes we mention YouTube things we watch. We've been at work watching a little bit of the CinemaSins series, and
Okay.
I could not imagine being that fucking picky.
Oh, that's why I don't watch that
Yeah.
channel. They're too nitpicky,
I
and I
can't-
get it's part of their gimmick now, but
It's ridiculous. So, sometimes it's really entertaining, and then I
Mhm.
tried balancing it out by
Yeah.
watching Cinema Wins, and that's unwatchable garbage. So
I've never heard of that one. What is that?
it's the opposite. It's a different guy, but it's the
So just-
opposite. They pick movies they don't pick top
Yeah.
100. They do some, but they don't pick the ones that are super popular.
Mhm.
And then they say all the things that are good about it that maybe somebody has talked down. So if they did, was it Batman versus Superman with the must? So they probably would have been like, it
Oh,
actually
no, that
doesn't
was
look.
Justice
That was
League.
Justice League. It would be
Yeah.
like, it doesn't really look that bad to have the mustache covered. over.
Oh God.
And then give reasons why it made sense and stuff like
Is it-
that. So it was just unwatchable because there's such long explanations.
Is it supposed to be a satire?
It's
or
supposed
is it
to be the
more
no, it's
legit?
it's
in a
kind of
sense?
more legit. It's supposed to be just the
Oh,
direct
they-
opposite of CinemaSins. It's pretty
Okay.
terrible.
Yeah, I don't like. I feel like both of them are slightly ingenuine in a sense because they're
Yeah, they're
They're-
definitely over the top.
yeah, but I get that's part of it, and
Some people
God knows I
enjoy
wish
that.
I was as successful as
I watched
CinemaSins.
both parts of everything that's wrong with Attack of the Clones, and let me tell you, that was entertaining. I had never watched the movie critiquing Anakin's entire approach to life in general.
Yeah, no, because we were kids when we first watched these
But
movies.
it's so
when we
much
rewatch
more
it's a
fun
nostalgia
watching
trip.
it. Exactly. It's man,
It is interesting to critique them as you get older.
I feel bad for Hayden Christensen because, like, his script was terrible.
Yeah, and he didn't have the guts to stand up to George Lucas.
Because it was George Lucas.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, like, Harrison Ford had the luckiness of George Lucas having not made his name quite as big. He had a little bit of a name because of American Graffiti, but not Star Wars George Lucas.
What a weird freaking movie. But also Harrison Ford was in American Graffiti, so that helps too. That helps. And
Harrison Ford's Harrison Ford.
Exactly.
So.
he's in a lot of good stuff, so whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I watched probably an episode or two of Designated Survivor. Still going to keep plucking away at it. Yeah. It's too bad Andrew's not here this week because I started watching Bad Blood Season 2, and it's better than I thought it was going to be. Because the first season is all like loosely historically based.
Yes.
And then the second season starts off in present day, so then they're just making stuff up.
Okay, that's kind of.
But I give them a ton of credit for their filming locations. They are nailing it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very Canadian.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are they doing accurate ones or just like pretending
there was
Winnipeg's in Toronto or vice versa?
There was so much footage of freaking Hamilton.
That's great.
I was gonna see myself drive by. Like,
yeah. That's hilarious. I think about that sometimes when you see like on the news the prime minister like going down, like taking his motorcade down wherever, or somebody coming to like the parliament, and they always go down Rideau Street. So I'm like, oh yeah, no, maybe I was out on the street when that happened.
I might have been
right there.
I might have been. So I started that, but maybe I'll save that for when I get back from vacation to further discuss the merits of Bad Blood Season 2.
Sandra will have more to add to that.
Exactly. I watched a little bit more Trailer Park Boys. Still love that show.
Right on. It's funny you say that because my brother legit has binge watched it over the last week. Has watched almost the entire series, and I'm like, Craig's almost done for a season or something like that.
I'm on the third season. Thank you very much.
Okay, I wasn't sure. It was tough for me to keep up with how many you're watching at a time. So I wasn't sure because they're weird length seasons too.
Yeah, I bulk watch them if I'm bored.
Okay.
So, if I don't feel like watching something as heavy as Designated Survivor or Bad Blood, I'll put it on just as, background noise. Like yesterday, I watched Trailer Park Boys and played Mario Kart. And it was fantastic.
Call, yeah.
Exactly. You put that on the background.
Describe my brother's life, yeah.
Put that on the background, listen to J-Rock talk forever. And, yeah.
That's what he does while playing games on his phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Phones on his game.
Phones on his game. Sam and I watched a couple movies this weekend following the wedding. We watched John Tucker Must Die, which I haven't seen in a while, and seem to remember was better than it is.
Well, again, I feel like as we age,
I saw it not that long ago too, though. That's the
fair.
thing.
Okay.
It was like a couple years, but I obviously remember it being better than I thought.
Or maybe you just didn't pay attention before.
Maybe.
I feel like since we've started this, I pay way more attention to the quality of movies.
Yes.
A lot more since we've started doing this. We have to talk more about it other than, that was good, and I have to try and actually come up with a little bit more to say. It makes me think more, I pay a little more attention to movies now, so maybe that's what it is. You just have a little more of the eye for it or the ear for being like, this isn't as good, or maybe just your comedy has grown since then too.
Maybe.
I know mine has in the last 3 years at least, I was the biggest Kevin Hart fan 3 years ago. Now I'm like, oh yeah, he came to town.
What a fun little segue. I watched. We also watched The Upside this weekend.
Oh, nice. That one I'm curious to see.
Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart. And if you are intending to watch it, I would say do it because it is a good movie.
I've only heard good things. It's based off of a French movie, I believe,
called The Untouchables, or
yes,
I believe The Untouchables. Is how it was released in America, at least. So the most impressive thing about this movie is that I didn't hate Kevin Hart. The second most impressive thing about this movie is that Bryan Cranston plays a quadriplegic really well.
Yeah, that's good.
I can't imagine how difficult it would be to be a guy who can't feel anything from his neck down for an entire movie.
Oh, I could not do that role.
I'm literally really well.
Twitching my leg right now.
Exactly. He played it really well.
That's good. No, that's and I'm not even that surprised because it's Bryan Cranston.
So,
He's just
exactly.
he's great, but that is still nice to see because that would be something I'd find distracting, like in a movie about that. If I saw like too much movement on his like upper body or in his arms or anything like that, I'd be like, oh, okay, come. But the fact that he was dedicated to it
didn't look like anything at all. Like for all I know, they just knocked out everything below his neck the entire time because that's basically what it looked like.
Yeah, well, I hope for his sake they didn't give him something to do that.
The comedy was not awful either, so that was
okay.
All very positive. The last thing that we've watched is we started this docuseries called The Family. Have you seen this thing on the Netflix?
I have not. I've been laxing on my Netflix lately.
It is a political documentary about a shadow Christian organization behind the U.S. government.
I'm vaguely remembering like scrolling past this now. Maybe
I don't know how much of it's true, but I've never heard of this thing before. So
that's one thing I find tough about these Netflix documentaries sometimes. I'm like, that's where I have a tough time with actually all documentaries. Is I question their methodology.
It depends on what it's about. If it's about a thing where there's an agenda to you lying to me, then
that's fair. Yeah.
I have a different take on it. But if it's a documentary about a endurance run in Tennessee, then I'm pretty sure all your facts are straight.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's funny you say that because I watched one like that. I've watched all like the CrossFit ones where I'm like, I know what CrossFit is. They can't lie to me about this.
Exactly. But that's all I watched this week. It was an interesting. The first episode was really freaking captivating.
Huh.
And then I don't know. I just don't know how to take the series.
That's fair. I feel some documentaries are like that. They're just kind of they sit in a weird way on you because you're like, okay, I've absorbed this information. I don't know quite what I'm supposed to do with it now. Almost like I feel like I should act on it maybe, or like I feel like for me I feel like I need to be like sometimes be like discrediting it. Like no, they did this wrong. Like I've only taken like 4 years of science, but I know that this isn't the proper way to do science.
There's no way to fact check this thing though.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And it's got like some
that's the thing with like ones about people that are a little bit more like that. It's
like it's all interviews, and then there's like positive interviews about it, negative interviews about it, and then there's like some footage that you're like, how in the world did you even get this footage?
Yeah, and that's where I struggle with it too, because it's a lot of interviews, and it's like, oh, I'm supposed to just trust these people? Like, am I the only person who assumes everybody's lying first, and then after that decides if they're telling the truth or not? Is that just me? Like, especially if you're on TV, it's like, well, no, they just wanted attention potentially. Like, that's why they made up a lie. That's a great reason to make up a lie. Like,
exactly.
So that's where I struggle with them. Yeah.
I will reserve judgment until we finish it and then decide what.
No, that's fair too.
It actually is. Maybe I'll do some Wikipedia research when it's finished and see what happens.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that. This is I am slightly generalizing about documentaries and docuseries.
No, most documentaries I watch, I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. This one, I have no idea.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, and that's where you get into the weird thing with like the organization stuff. Or
exactly.
Yeah, like that's why I haven't watched the Scientology ones either yet, because I'm like, I don't know how much of this I can trust from either way, because it is that weird one where they kind of have an agenda, but it's also not the same type of agenda that I know how to read. Like I can read like ones that are profit based or stuff like that, like politically based.
Yeah.
But when it's a little bit more religious based, I'm like, that motivation's a little bit beyond my scope of being able to like, I don't quite know. I don't really know. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
That's it. That's all we watched this week. Okay. It was pretty busy.
Yeah, we had a busy. We all had a busy week with the wedding in there.
Exactly.
In between, so yeah, mine's a pretty short list too, because I didn't get back till Sunday, back home till like Sunday evening, and I had to do all the other stuff. Or Sunday, I got back early Sunday, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that I have a short what I watched this week list.
Short list.
Yeah. So the first thing I have on my list is, I watched Sebastian
Maniscalco?
Yes. I watched the Why Would You Do That? His older one that just got recently added to Netflix.
Yeah.
His older special. And I just love it. I love that guy because I like his just like he's kind of rude in a sense to people, like innocents, and he's got like no patience almost for people, and I'm like, oh, I love it. I'm the same way.
I can't sit down and watch him all at once. Like I can't finish an entire one of his specials at once.
Okay, is it too much in a sense for you?
It's just he does the same stick the entire time.
That's fair. I definitely enjoyed his newer one more than I enjoyed that one because it did feel a little more. It felt more of a shtick in this one than his newer one that I watched. I could see what you mean, but I enjoy his shtick too, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, if you're into it, it doesn't wear on you, but.
Exactly. Well, no, and this is only like the second special of his I've watched, so I could understand where if I watch the rest of his, which I'm assuming he's got a bunch, because I always hear like comedians whose podcasts I listen to always say him. Like, you know what I mean? They refer to him a lot, and I'm like, okay, I gotta check this guy out. I don't usually because, as you saw before, I have trouble pronouncing his name.
Sebastian Maniscalco. I mean, look him up.
It's that last one. Sebastian, I can say. It's the Maniscalco. I was like, it looked too like obvious, but at the same time, like, I don't know. He's Italian too, so I'm like, am I supposed to put an accent?
Italian, and he's from Chicago.
Yes. Those are both things he talks about a lot. Those are just sticks. So
he's only got two comedy albums on on Spotify.
Oh, okay.
He has Aren't You Embarrassed, which is the one that was on Netflix. And then he's got Why Would You Do That?
Okay, so I have seen both of those two at least. So maybe those are the only two major ones he had. I thought he had more because I had heard so many of the so many comedians talk about how big of like stadiums he does, and I was like, okay, that means he's big. I assumed he had more specials, but maybe he just does a lot of touring. Maybe he's one of those. Or
that's
big
just all that's on Spotify.
Fair, yes.
And there's other ones that he, and there's other ones that he's done that we don't have. Like he's playing TD Garden, so yeah, he's doing.
He's doing well for himself.
Bell Center, Canadian Tire Center, United Center. He's playing hockey arenas.
Mm-hmm.
Like NHL arenas.
Not that's what I was hearing.
Not the
say,
Meridian Center.
Yeah.
There's the St. Catharines shout out. He's playing the NHL arenas. But anyway.
Yep. So he's doing pretty well for himself. So that's why I assumed he had more specials, but I'm just doing a quick look online. I'm not seeing too many other ones. I see Sebastian Live from 2008. That's the next closest thing. It looks like he also appeared on Vince Vaughn's Wild West comedy show, or things popping up under his movies. But yeah, no, I get what you mean. But yeah, no, I still just enjoyed the Why Would You Do That? Yeah, just like I said, I feel his frustration. I feel he just brought out some, I have some of the same frustrations. So that's where I'm like, yeah, I connected a little bit. But I could see why you might not. You're calmer than I am.
a little bit.
Slightly. But I also watched a bunch of internet stuff, as I do a lot. But the only things I ever bring up here is the Hot Ones I watch. Yes. So I watched Hot Ones with Kristen Bell and then the one with Idris Elba.
I watched the Kristen Bell one. We started the Stone Cold Steve Austin episode today, but did not get to it.
Yeah, I didn't quite get to that one yet either. But no, I liked the Kristen Bell one, except she was tougher at it than I thought. She came in cocky, and she was exactly at that level at the end. And I was like, oh, damn it. She knew exactly her level. And I was like, okay, but it also makes sense with her and Dax. They're just very competitive like that type of people, and they do weird things like that. So I was like, okay. But it was still, I can listen to her be interviewed all the time. And I think Sean's getting better with the interviews.
Yes.
I like the questions he asks in particular. I know you had I'll agree still that his presenting style sometimes has a little bit, but he's learned a little bit better how to how not to interrupt quite as weird, how to have a better transition, how to be a little more natural when he's interviewing. So
in the most recent season than he had been for the first 8.
Yeah, and I think it helps that he's I think he's maybe starting to get over his maybe celebrity, shock, because he's had some big ones. So I could get if I was sitting there across from some of these celebrities, I couldn't keep it together, especially the pretty women. I start to get tongue-tied, and I get stupid, and I make dumb jokes, and I get embarrassed. And he's far more composed than I would ever have been around Scarlett Johansson. especially when she has like her midriff showing. I'm just like, oh,
There, that's it. Scott's done. Scott checks out.
she's very distracting for me. That's
Bye,
all. Yeah. But yeah, and then Idris Elba coming in. That one I loved because he came in very cocky, and then admitted, that he was wrong. But you know what I mean? Like he still made it through the whole thing. That one was just enjoyable. And again, he's a guy who does so many different things, so it's cool to like learn a little bit more about that via their questions that Sean asks. Like I like the direction they go with their variety of questions. They're the most interesting I find. Like I don't watch many of these online internet shows where they ask questions. Like I don't particularly care sometimes about like celebrities like quick answers to stuff. Like I like them on podcasts so that we get a little more of a story out of it. But but this one I thought was I think it's good because it's almost in between the two, right? Like it's not as quick as like a one of those quick internet or quick like news junkets that they do for like every movie. Because it takes a little bit longer, but it's not quite, a full podcast. Like it is a half hour sometimes, but they're still fitting in having to eat stuff too. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed the fact that, like I said, he came in very cocky and was willing to admit that, it smacked him in the mouth at one point.
Definitely.
But yeah, so that was I watched those two. I also watched a Netflix thing that I was curious to check out. It's called Frankenstein's Monster Frankenstein. And I don't know if you've seen this on Netflix. This is a little Netflix original. It's 30 minutes long. It's David Harbour playing a couple different roles, and it's like a television play.
Interesting. I might have to check that out. That sounds it might be a thing I would enjoy.
I think you would actually really enjoy it because I spent the whole thing trying to be like, I don't know if this is like David Harbour's surreal, like real life telling about his father, or if this is just a surreal made up story that David Harbour decided to kind of base around his life in a sense. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? Because he's a character in it, and his father is a character in it. But it's also very tough to tell whether this is an actual story that he's recreating or if it's just made out of nowhere. And I haven't looked to find out if it isn't or not, because I wanted to talk about it with other people first and then find out. So you should definitely check it out, though. It's only half an hour, so it's just a quick go through, and it's David Harbour. Just like it's the film quality is intentionally shot like to make it look like less like lower quality because it's meant to look like it was shot in the 70s because he's pretending to be his dad during certain things, filming a television play during that time. So it's just kind of interesting to see, and I just liked it. It's just really kind of out there, and it just like made me kind of be like, David Harbour, I want to learn more about you as a person. You just seem interesting if you came up with this on your own or decide you just wanted to do this because you were bored in between shoots at Stranger Things. Because I guarantee that's when this was filmed, either before, after, or during Stranger Things, like the most recent season being filmed. He's probably on the set, and they're just like, okay, we'll go set up this other place. So, but yeah, no, it was interesting. You should check it out.
I will do that.
But yeah, then the last thing I have written down that I watched the Legion series finale. I won't talk about this too much because I know you've never watched any Legion, right?
I couldn't even tell you what it's about, to be honest with you. I know you guys talk about it every week, and I still don't know.
This is funny. So this show just wrapped up. I'm just going to give you a quick little summary. It's about an X-Men character. Okay. So it's superheroes in a sense, but it's about a character who has both psychic abilities that can literally do anything. Like he can warp reality, but he also has schizophrenia. Like he has split personalities, and the two of those things kind of intermixing, like it's just really interesting. So you start off the beginning of the series, he's in a mental hospital, because he believes he's just mentally ill, and then some X-Men, not like the ones we know from the movies, but some future X-Men in a sense, save him, tell him he's actually a mutant and that, he has special abilities, he's not crazy. And that was the first season. And then by the end of the first season, he learns that he's both. He's so that's why I really like this show, because it's super weird. It's about this, like, you never know what's reality and what's not, especially in the first few seasons. Mm-hmm. And it just wrapped up. So we've got all 3 seasons done. It's a total of 27 episodes for the whole series. So, but it wrapped up just like, I think how every 3-season series should always kind of wrap up with this kind of nice little nice bow, but also a slightly open end where it's like you can imagine something happening from there. So I just thought it was really well done, and it was unexpected. Like that's another thing. Like a lot of them, so most of the time it's a little too predictable the way they end a show, especially when you know they're going to be ending a show. You'll be like, yeah, okay, I can see them tying all these things up, but they did it in this way where I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. All right, So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. Andrew has never been able to get into it, he said, because it's a little too out there. So I don't know if you'd like it or not either, because it is very, very out there. But I really enjoyed it because it was always meant to be this short 3-season series. And I thought they just did a great job with like keeping me intrigued and giving me exactly what I wanted from it. And they throw in dance scenes and different song numbers every once in a while in the show. So like the last episode had the one character doing like a duet with his mom. I didn't recognize the song. You probably would have maybe, but like there's a bunch of different things like that because it's all about these people with telepathic abilities. So they're not doing like superhero fights where they're like big blasts and stuff like that. They have these like metaphoric mind battles in a sense. So like one time they like I told you about Gerard Clemens, right? No, wrong guy. The guy from Flight of the Conchords. Why do I always forget his name?
Jermaine Clement.
Okay, it is Clemens. All right, I wasn't sure. So yeah, him. Like when I talked about him and what's his name doing the rap battle a couple weeks ago, right? Like,
yep.
Weird things like that. They interlace through the show because they use that as a metaphor for mind battles in a sense. Because when two telepaths are fighting each other, there's nothing really happening except their minds are doing like a wrestling match in a sense. So they do different, metaphors and analogies for that, and that's one of my favorite things about the show is seeing those different ways. Like sometimes it's a dance battle, sometimes it's a sing-off, sometimes it's sometimes they're literally wrestling in a ring, and then you know what I mean. They have a beer at some points, like just sitting at a table. So it's just really random, but that's why I liked it. And like I said, it wrapped up, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's all I watched this week.
That's good. That was pretty easy.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
We have come to another weird ending.
Yes, we're so bad at these. We never get these prepared.
No.
Thanks. Well, come back next week, everybody, for another one of these slap together episodes that we do.
Maybe we'll all be here. Probably not, since I'm not.
Yeah, Craig won't be here for the next 2 weeks, but we'll see.
It's whatever.
Thanks, Skip, for joining us, guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.